This video, we got 15 things that I wish that I knew in my 20s. I am now 32. My next milestone is $500,000 in net worth. We're on our way. I have a list in the description if you just want to skim through them. I'll try to go through each one of them quick, and I do have a bonus at the end. Number 1, start a Roth IRA and contribute regularly, no matter what. I wish I did this much sooner. Luckily, I did open up a Roth IRA back then, but the sooner you start, the better. I think everyone should contribute like a bare minimum of $100 every month forever. Now, this is also on top of a 401k. You should max that out. And people might be starting families later on, but eventually if you do have a family and have children, you could open up a 529 plan, similar idea. Don't get held up of where to open it up. Just go to Vanguard or Fidelity or something. Open this account up and just start contributing from your bank account into this. It helps you save for retirement. Number 2, I wish I did more of is invest in index funds and not just stocks, like individual stocks. So I have pretty large holdings in Apple and Amazon stock as I started investing back, 2015, 16, 17. So I have over like 300% returns. But there are other stocks that I held that I just should have thrown into a simple index fund. Could be like the NASDAQ, which has outperformed the S&P 500, but S&P 500 is another one. Now, unless you're like a trader and you're full-time doing research into, individual companies, then sure, maybe. But there are full-time people that are invested into the markets and they're still not beating markets. So I'm like, well, might as well just do the index. And over time, the index does change to larger companies as they grow bigger. If you have one stock, then who knows, it might become irrelevant. And then what, do you have to sell it eventually? When's the best time to sell? Usually never. So I feel like an index is just a straightforward thing for the long term. Number 3 that I really wish I took more seriously in my 20s is start a budget. Now, in my 20s, I didn't have many expenses, so I just knew it wasn't very difficult to keep track of things in my head. But as you grow, most people will get into relationships and then families, and then they start having kids, and with that just expands your expenses tremendously. So if I started and then solidified a budget back then, and as I grew, it just would have been easier to get started. So remember to budget, and within that budget, definitely incorporate investment into that Roth, like we said. Just force it to happen. Or savings, force that to happen. Make those things almost like an expense, so you do it. Number 4 is career growth, is based on time and experience. In the beginning, I was incredibly frustrated because I wasn't able to, grow as much as I wanted to or had the salary that I wanted. It's because I didn't have the experience. I wish I knew what to focus on would be the experience. You need to try something out for maybe a year or two, and then go somewhere else and try something else out for a year or two. People don't like hearing, unfortunately, things take time, but that's what life is. And then as you grow, you start realizing maybe something that you don't like, so that you don't go down that path. And down the road, you eventually gain up all of this experience to then move into something that interests you, and you could get into it a little bit easier. And with that experience, then it brings you the possible salary that you're looking for. Same idea for businesses though, not only for career, but you just need to grow over time. Number 5 is investing versus debt versus savings. So first, let's look at investing versus debt. Average return stock market is around 10% to make things even. But debt, especially high interest debt like credit card debt or student loan debt, obviously try not to get in debt. Luckily, I was debt free, and then my wife had a shit ton of student loan debt, so we're trying to bang those out tens of thousands of dollars at a time, so we're getting out of that. But when you pay off debt, let's say a credit card debt of 25%, when you pay off that debt, it's like getting that 25% return guaranteed. Versus the market, the average is 10%, but there might be, a year that it might go down. So paying off debt is guaranteed returns. And when you eventually pay off those loans, it increases your cash flow. Versus savings. Early on, my mom always told me, save your money, save your money, save your money. And honestly, I wish I didn't. Back then, interest rates were 0, so you weren't getting anything in a savings account. Right now it might be slightly different. You might be able to get like 4%. But if you're saving your money, most of the time you're not outpacing inflation. So you need to invest so you grow your money faster than the things that are going up in price. So my son just turned 2, so I'm going to tell him, like, you shouldn't be saving anything. You should be investing everything that you get because you have the time. Number 6 is what you want financially is different what other people might want financially. So if you ever seen one of those tables like, oh, how much you should have by this certain age, all that is doing is just comparing to others. Your life is different than other people. So like a quick example, if a lot of people might be saying, oh, you need $2 million to retire. Well, is that actually true for you versus, obviously you're in your 20s, you're not like close to retirement, or like a certain salary to cover your expenses. Someone might say, oh, you need like $250,000. Well, what do you personally need? So that's why it's good to know your cash flow, your budget. Don't be running after someone else's dream. Number 7 really sucks is lifestyle inflation. So when you're going from your 20s into your 30s, most people will go through like, kind of like we mentioned before, going from single into a relationship into like a family, and then if you start having kids, that is massive because you have to get a bigger apartment, or you buy a house, or you eventually get, another car to fit everyone, or, more doctor bills. Or with kids, now you have more expenses. That lifestyle inflation is massive. So your growth potential, whether your business or your career, has to outpace that lifestyle inflation. For me, I'm grateful that my career grew very nicely to actually outpace that inflation. But understanding, like, if you have that mindset that you're like just stable in your career, not really growing too much, and you're going to start a family, you're going to struggle. This is the time you need growth, moving from that 20s into the 30s. Number 8, I'll have to explain, don't sell your video games. It's a little personal for me, because I definitely regret selling all that stuff. I'm building back up a collection, but this is relating to physical assets. So what we're getting at is the value of your purchasing power, your dollar, is decreasing in value. So over time, when you have physical assets, and that could be video games, that could be collectibles, that could be instruments, that could get into other investments like real estate, gold, silver. Those physical assets are important. Sometimes selling those things for like a quick dollar that you want right now, not worth it. Number 9 is don't listen to people who haven't done what you're doing. So I remember when I was researching like into investing, and I'm trying to talk to either like my family or even some friends or coworkers about it, and they have no idea about investing. So what they're going to give me it's nothing. Their opinions on it they're probably wrong. Same thing with business. Like I have an eBay business, and people might have opinions on like, oh, what you should do or what you shouldn't do, but if they don't do it themselves, how could they know? People that have the results that you're looking for, you listen to them and no one else. Number 10 is a big one, is keep it simple. There are just so many options and opportunities and so many shiny items out there that you could chase. But financially, you got to keep it simple. You have to make more than what you spend. And don't compare to others. If you're looking at people's bigger houses than you or nicer cars than you, that is a losing battle. If it works for you and you're growing from it, continue with that. With number 11 is start a side hustle sooner. Like I mentioned, I have an eBay small business. Been doing it for maybe 3-4 years now. Doing pretty well with it. Some extra money on the side to help pay off like any debt or start investing. I'm actually using it to contribute to my kids' 529 plan. Just start it because years go fast and you don't want regrets. You don't want to look back 5 years and be like, I should have tried it out. Number 12 is don't always listen to experts. There's always experts out there, and they could certainly sound smart. They could be smart. But what they say might not always actually happen. Like a certain stock or the market doesn't do what they say it does. That's why I think looking at history and what things have typically done is kind of better than listening to someone think of or predict what's going to happen. Like historically, the market returns around 10%. looking at different investments, how they perform. Like recently I was actually comparing stocks to gold. There's just a lot of experts these days, so just watch out for them. And say, do your research and look at history. Number 13 is to have a reliable, long-term car. You could save so much money by not getting a car every so often, or it just breaks down so you need to get another one. Like my car, I had it for at least, 7 years, no car payments. Paid off and it's still rocking. It sounds so simple, but like it works. If you have no car payments, you're able to use that or save that money or invest it. So instead of, paying out of pocket $500 or whatever the average car payment is these days, I'm able to use that money. Number 14 is you also have to understand you need cash to live your life. Quick story, I remember one of my good friends, he had all his money in stocks, but he needed a car. And he's like, I just realized, you can't buy a car if you got no money. Well, you don't want to be forced to sell your stocks. So yeah, it's important to invest in everything, but at the same time, you do need to save for certain items. So you do need to kind of balance that out. I mean, look at Warren Buffett right now. He has a huge cash position. So if an opportunity comes around, you're actually able to do that. Especially if you're starting to build your life or start a family and to get a house, well, you need to save money to get there. If everything is in stocks, then you have nothing in cash to buy. Then you would have to sell your stocks. The problem with that is, now long term that should be a good idea, but if the market is down, then you can't really sell unless you want to sell for a loss. So that's why it's a little tricky to kind of balance. Yes, you do want to invest, definitely, for the long term, but short term, you do kind of need cash, especially when you're starting your life. Number 15, I do have a bonus after this. Fail more. You have time on your side. Try something new. If you fail on it, hey, you learn. Try something else. See, if you fail on it, great. For those people that aren't failing, they're not doing anything. If you're failing, that means you're doing something, and you should fail forward. Typically, when you fail, you should be like, oh, that's what I did wrong. Then you adjust, and then you try that out, and then that's how you grow. No failing is just no growth. And I would say my bonus for people in their 20s, or something that I wish I learned, is if you do what normal people do, you're going to get what normal people have. And most normal people are broke. They're in a job they hate. They can't afford their life. You don't want that. So you have to be not normal. It might seem weird you're getting into investing early, or it might seem weird that you're trying to get out of debt, or you don't have a car payment, or starting your own business, or doing something on the weekends to get extra money. If you have a goal, you have to go for it. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So hopefully those tips help people in their 20s. It definitely would have helped me. I would have went a little bit harder. I did pretty well. I can't lie about that. But you could always do better and improve. There are so many other things that could be on this list as well. So if you have any, leave them down in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one.